Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley, and here's a whole rundown of a ton of news bites. The 25th anniversary edition of the infamous game Night Trap is now out for PC and PS4 gamers, with an Xbox One version also in the works if you're desperately waiting for that. But what about, well, the Nintendo Switch? Well, seems Nintendo has not forgotten its long, sordid history with Night Trap, the game that got the entire video game industry called into Congress for a good old-fashioned hearing, including Nintendo. According to the developer, Nintendo just straight up is not interested in bringing a port of the Vampire Sorority Voyeur FMV game to their handheld console. Huge surprise. In a now deleted tweet, Screaming Villains said that they had a deal in place with the company for a Switch port, but Nintendo pulled out of their agreement for a very random reason. I don't know, maybe it has to do with all that history or that it's not a great game. Interestingly enough, the ESRB that was created as a result of Night Trap, well, and Mortal Kombat, but Night Trap was the other one, they were the deadly duo, now considers the game tame enough to be rated T for teen. Is that embarrassing for a game that's supposed to be outrageous? Maybe. We'll stop talking about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds as soon as everyone stops buying it and playing it constantly, which apparently isn't happening just yet. The game has now crossed yet another milestone, moving past the mark of 7 million copies sold according to Steam Spy. That's impressive because we just reported on it passing 5 million. Steam Spy's numbers do have a little bit of a margin for error, so there's no official word from the developer or PlayerUnknown himself just yet, but we can probably expect that to come pretty soon. However, one thing we do have confirmation of is that Battlegrounds has become so popular that last week it outperformed League of Legends on Twitch, hitting nearly 17 million hours of watch time versus League of Legends 15, which is insane considering how popular League of Legends is on Twitch. Game Local reports that this is the first time in 3 years that League of Legends has been outviewed on Twitch by a game that wasn't pushed by a top-tier esports event. So, people don't just love winning those chicken dinners, also really love watching them too. That's great. Legendary game designer Swery65, aka Hidetaka Suehiro, has finally announced his brand new game, Good Life, an RPG about cats. He knows this. It's like he just gets the internet. The former designer of cult classics such as Deadly Premonition unveiled the new game this week via Fig, where he and his studio White Owls will be seeking to crowdfund the game. It's apparently a mystery set in a small village where everyone keeps turning into cats at night. Swery assured fans the game will inherit the spirit of Deadly Premonition, but also added, "I'm positive that the happiest town in the world and the most bizarre townspeople in the world will capture your heart and pull you deep into their world. Please support The Good Life and help us bring this game to life." The campaign starts tomorrow in case you feel like crowdfunding some cat games, which of course you do, right? Gamers have had too much time on their hands, judging by the results of a huge new survey that collected the responses of more than 15,000 RPG fans. This survey was conducted by Larian, the studio behind the Divinity series, to determine what gamers want from an RPG, and the results are, well, they're pretty interesting. For the most part, the respondents prefer isometric cameras to traditional third-person cameras and first-person cameras, although that's a little bit skewed since this survey was mostly filled out by Divinity fans who like isometric camera. However, the respondents also said their least desired feature in an RPG was PvP, followed closely by cooperative play. Everyone's kind of a loner. We all want to be the big hero. We can't all be the big hero if everyone else is also the big hero. Their biggest priorities overall, story and progression. As for how much time players generally want to spend in the RPGs, that one's actually kind of a doozy, with nearly a quarter of respondents saying that RPGs should be 100 hours or more. The sweet spot for time spent seems to be right around the 40 to 60 hour mark, with close to 29% voting for that answer. So have fun with your co-opless, isometric, single player, 150 hour RPGs, everyone. We did it. We've made the perfect game. Last weekend's DOTA2 International competition was watched by more fans than ever on Twitch. The event hit a peak of 845,000 viewers on Saturday as Team Liquid beat Newbie in the finals. If you're wondering though, the all-time champ for peak viewers is actually Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which brought in a record 1.1 million peak viewers earlier this year. Dota2 has also surpassed 1 billion total views on Twitch, which is fewer views than League of Legends, which has 2.1 billion views, but still crazy impressive. Lots of people watching that stuff. A subscription movie service that lets you also watch a lot of stuff, that is unlimited movies, is planning to drop its fee to $10 a month. And that seems really, really low to be able to watch a movie in theaters every single day. Well, one movie theater chain absolutely agrees. AMC Theaters, the largest chain in the US, has threatened to sue the service called MoviePass, saying that the subscription price is way too low. They point out that an average ticket price is $9.33, at least in the US, which means you'd only have to watch 2 movies a month to make it more than worth your while. Last year, the service launched and ranged anywhere from $15 to $50 a month, depending on the size of the city you live in, the number of theaters that were available to you. AMC now says it's consulting with lawyers to see if it can block the service from being used at its theaters. Interestingly enough, it's actually a move co-founded by the Netflix co-founder, and they're partially or majority owned by an analytics firm, so that's how they're sort of making up the crazy price, I guess, is selling the data on viewer trends. Apparently, it's impossible to keep a secret these days, no matter how hard you try, especially if it involves Game of Thrones. Of course. Next Sunday's episode has already leaked after, well, an overseas vendor in Spain screwed up and released the episode early, according to Game of Thrones site Watchers on the Wall. It was mistakenly made available in HBO Spain, and of course, people quickly made copies of the episode to distribute, so word of warning, lots of terrible people already leaking spoilers on social media, so be careful out there. Just maybe turn the entire internet off for a couple of days. We can do it. Wait till Sunday. Next year's Avengers Infinity War will have dozens and dozens of superheroes and villains, but there is one weird, notable exception. Nick Fury. Oh, and he's apparently also not in Avengers 4 or Black Panther either. Now that's according to Samuel L. Jackson, who's a pretty good source for these matters, probably. In an interview with Yahoo Movies UK, Jackson said, "I'm not in Avengers 3 and 4. They're shooting them now. They haven't called me yet." And he added, "They wouldn't let me go to Black Pantherville. It's kind of like, how are you gonna make a Black Marvel movie and not let Nick Fury show up in it?" He has a point. Jackson hasn't actually been in a Marvel film since 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron, but he apparently still has 2 movies left in his 9-picture deal with Marvel, which has us all kind of wondering, what the fuck, Marvel? Are you saving him for after you kill probably like everyone in Avengers 4 and now he's gotta go out and like recruit an entire new set of superheroes? What you playing at? Now we've got confirmation on who will play James Bond in the next movie, and guess what? Guess what? Yeah, it's Daniel Craig. He confirmed the news to Stephen Colbert on The Late Show Tuesday after joking in the past that he'd rather slash his wrists than do it again. He's gonna do it again. It will be the 5th time he's played Bond, and the next movie is due to hit theaters November 8th, 2019. Craig says this will definitely be his last time as Bond. He said, "I think this is it. I just want to go out on a high note, and I can't wait." Oh, you're saying the last one wasn't a high note. I see. It looks like Star Wars isn't the only big franchise that's getting a theme park, and I think we're all on board with lots and lots of awesome theme parks, like Harry Potter World. Yes. However, it's Twilight and the Hunger Games that are each getting their own attractions at an upcoming theme park in South Korea, which is slightly less exciting. The studio Lionsgate announced it'll open Lionsgate Movie World, a 1.3 million square foot theme park dedicated to its movies. It'll have 7 different zones, and each will be devoted to a different Lionsgate film, including that whole Now You See Me franchise and the studio's upcoming Robin Hood remake. The theme park will open sometime in 2019. And I don't think I'm gonna travel that far to go to it because I just don't care about those movies quite that much. Alright, that's the news we have for you guys today. Let us know what you think of all these updates in the comments down below to make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every day. Like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the know.
Isn't Lionsgate the Saw guys too?
Oh, maybe they'll make a Saw one. That'd be really exciting. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Don't get me wrong, it'd be like a great creepy haunted house or whatever, but I'm just not gonna go to that because I'm a great big sissy. Swery assured fans the game will inherit the spirit of Predly Demonition.